Okay, the USA 1, Jamaica 0. Matthew Hoppe heads the United States into the semifinal. 1-0 win over Jamaica. How's everybody feeling? Guys, welcome to the breakdown. Welcome to the post-reaction show. You all know Filippo Silva from Tactical Manager. Guys, before we go any further, do us a favor and smash that like button so that other people can find us. Woo! Oh, what a relief when that header came in, right? It was so on edge. And yet Matthew Hoppe comes in with his head as a true poacher, as a true striker does, and finishes. Filippo, how you feeling, man?
Man, well, for me, it's always special because, I get in trouble a lot on Twitter with Jamaicans, L3 fans. So these two teams specifically, it's very important for me to win so I don't get killed on Twitter. So to me, it was just
Twitter is safe now.
Yeah, I'm safe. I won't need to run away. It was just a relief when it happened.
Yeah, guys. Wow, there is so much to talk about. Guys, we're going to start off by talking about the positives from the game, of which there are quite a few. So after Austin Westbrook's super chat, we're not going to answer super chats or any chats really for the first 10 or so minutes while we're talking about this. So I'm just letting you guys know that now. Austin Westbrook, this is Matthew Hoppe. Yes, thank you. Matthew Hoppe, best player, best attacker at least on the night for sure. And absolutely deserved that goal. It's crazy to me that he was about to be pulled off. Do you think that, who did he come off for, Joe Aquini? Do you think Joe Aquini scores that goal? Maybe. It was a decent cross by Roldan that was floated in. But he really deserved that goal because for most of the game, he was our best outlet in attack, Matthew Hoppe. And guys, that's what happens when you play skillful, technical players in your attack. You have an edge. All right, so let's get started talking about the positives from the game. Obviously, 3 points and getting through to the semifinal, is a huge part of that. So I don't even think that needs to be said, right? Can I just highlight very quickly Miles Robinson, Filippo? I mean, I thought on the night he was so good defending in isolation, covering for his back line, defending in the air, passing into midfield. I think he was excellent. I think Miles Robinson is probably man of the match for me. It's between him and Hoppe for sure. But wow, so good, Miles Robinson. And Chris Cosenza and all the Atlanta United fans, you should be really proud of Miles Robinson in this tournament. Tack.
So mine is going to be weird, but what I'm going to say is for maybe the first time ever, Berhalter outclassed another coach in CONCACAF. I think.
What do you mean by outclassed?
By outclassed, I think he adjusts a little bit better in the second half of the team to get the ball with the flow through the midfield a little bit better, along with the starting 11. I think he went the right way. In regards to subs, I don't think Roldan was the best sub in regards to removing Pariola, but he got it right. I don't think Roldan had a bad game today. He got the assist. And so Berhalter made the right decisions overall in the game. We could question if he should have put another player here and there, but overall, I think Berhalter had a really good performance today as a coach of the U.S., and he outshined Whitmore. I think Whitmore didn't really adjust.
He outcoached him for sure. He outcoached him today. The other thing that I want to talk about is this team has a real togetherness about them. It's not the most talented team. They don't have the most skill or technique in every position, but there's a real togetherness about this team. And you see it, the way they work for each other, the way they fight for each other, covering for each other's mistakes. You don't see the blaming. You don't see the throwing of hands, right? You don't see any of that. And that togetherness is how you can grind out 1-0 wins. It's how you can grind out victories, even on days where you don't play very well, And I think that's one thing that Berhalter has largely done well is creating a good culture within the team, right? A culture where they want to fight for each other, when they want to work for each other. And I think he deserves credit for that, if nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, before we go into it, I'm just letting you know we're not answering super chats right now. We appreciate it, and we will try to get to them. But it just gets a little chaotic. We're just starting the first 10 minutes talking about some of the positives of the game. And then after that, we'll get into super chats. And then at the end, we'll do negatives. And then also we'll do player ratings, okay? Just to give you a breakdown of how it's going to look. Tack, your turn.
Another positive, I'm going to go. You talked about Miles Robinson. I think Hoppe, we already said it. Obviously, Hoppe was a big positive. I think James Sands, too. He might have not been shined as much as Robinson because Robinson had more moments in the game, clean tackles.
Yeah.
But Sands played out of back very well. Every time he was tested on defense, he didn't really fail. I think Sands proved that he can play in the back two right there, two center backs. I thought he was a pretty big – and the guy's only 21, and he's coming into CONCACAF and performing every single game.
Yeah. So, no, I agree with you. There was one moment from Sands where he did give the ball away, and then Robinson goes back and covers for him. It was in the second half. Sands loses the ball, and then we're a 2v2 on a counterattack. And then Miles Robinson steps in and wins the ball, and then Sands steps in and covers Miles Robinson. So like I said, that really good interplay between the team of covering for each other, I thought was excellent, I agree with you about Sands. It was just that one moment, which is understandable to have one bad moment. Next up is Acosta. Acosta, you'd never know which Acosta you're going to get on the day. You can get a really good Acosta, or you can get an Acosta that I thought was one of the better players today, top 3 or 4 players on the team. Still had some moments of giving the ball away unnecessarily, but overall did a really good job of protecting that back line and getting the ball into the attack, into the midfield. So kudos to Acosta today. I've been critical of Acosta, and I thought today he was very good. Can he do that consistent? Because that's the thing. If he wants to stay in the top 23, 25, he needs to do that consistently, right? That's the question mark on Acosta.
Agreed.
Go ahead.
Matt Turner. Again, every time he was tested, impeccable, especially on the shot stopping part. Whatever he could hold on to, he held on to. Whatever he could slap away, he did. With his feet, I don't think he was bad today with his feet, but I don't think he was tested enough too, right?
Well, that's the thing. They've stopped playing out of the back. Have you noticed? When it goes to Turner now, they just go along with it when we're being pressed. And I think that's good recognition from Berhalter that playing out of the back is not Turner's, forte. So don't try to make him do it or you're going to get punished. And I think I don't think it's a complicated thing, but I'll give Berhalter credit for recognizing that, right? I just want to talk a little bit about Matthew Hoppe before we get into answering super chats. They were criticizing him right before he scored that goal on the broadcast. I don't know if you had the sound on.
For what?
Well, Stu Holden was saying he's giving the ball away now, and it is true. He was starting to be a little overly individualistic with the ball. Part of that could be tiredness. Part of that was he wasn't getting a lot of help, right? And the problem was Leggett had just given the ball away 3 times, but they chose to criticize Hoppe. So that annoyed me. But yeah, he looked like he was getting tired in that last 15 or so minutes that he was on the field, which is understandable. He's not fully fit yet. But in my opinion, you still don't take off your best player, your best attacker when you need a goal, even if he's tired. He has to stay on because he goes and does something like that, More positives you want to highlight.
No, what you just said reminded me, and I'm going to say this, and then they're going to make fun of me in the chat, obviously, because they say I always use Brazil as a reference. But this reminded me of 2002, Brazil versus Turkey. So Ronaldo Phenomenon was having a terrible game, and everyone was asking him to leave the game, and the coach was about to take him out, and he scores the game-winning goal against Turkey in the semifinal. So Hoppe just did that today, and it was just beautiful to see that. I loved it.
Yeah,
he deserved
great header. Good for Roldan. Roldan played a nice ball. I didn't think Roldan is Roldan, but that ball was great. He floated a nice little ball in. Better service than anybody else.
Zardes colliding with Andre Blake.
Well, Andre Blake came off his line and completely missed the ball, so that's partially on Andre Blake for sure. Are there any other positives that you want to highlight that we've missed?
The win.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. A big win, big ups tonight, guys. Like we said, I think that Berhalter mostly got his starting lineup right and his substitute patterns were fine. I still would have wanted to see Williamson at some point to be a creator in midfield because we lacked that all night long. And we'll talk about that when we talk about some of the issues. But a win is a win. We're through to the semifinal where we will face Qatar, which is going to be a very interesting proposition. Who do you think? What day is the semifinal? Is it Wednesday?
Thursday night.
Okay, so we have a couple of days now to, recover and recuperate.
By the way, Pete, where are you going to be? You're traveling. Where are you going to be on Thursday?
I'm going to be in New Orleans, I think.
Okay, okay.
Either New Orleans or Alabama. I'm not sure yet.
Because the game is in Austin or Houston on Thursday. I'm going to be in Texas. So if we win after the stream and you guys are out somewhere, I'll go out to party with anyone.
Yeah.
You got to be Qatar.
Okay, guys, we will take super chats now. I'm sorry to spring this on you. The thing is, guys, we've struggled in the past with trying to answer questions and also follow the flow. So we haven't really been able to answer super chats as I would like. So now I'm just clearing the space. It's open for super chats or just normal chats, and we can talk about stuff. After a while, we'll get into some of the issues from tonight, and then we'll do player ratings, okay? All right. Busio played much better today from DMAC. Yes, he did. He still had up and down moments, right? Moments where you see his immaturity. Huh?
I think he played better in the second half.
Yeah, he was a lot better in the second half. And credit to Berhalter for not pulling him. You know what I mean? He could have pulled him, but I think he's going to give Busio time, which is what you need with young players, especially when you know they have talent. You're patient with them and you give them time because that talent will shine through. Hey, Pete, Hoppe for World Cup qualifying or not yet? I absolutely think he should be on the top 23, right? You could argue that he's earned a spot there over somebody like Daryl DK, who again was not good tonight. Although personally, I'd probably keep DK on the 23 because of what I think he can offer. But yes, I think Hoppe should definitely be in the top. Remember, guys, World Cup qualifying isn't just going to be 23 players, right? They're going to bring probably 30. And then for each game, you get to name a 23-man squad 24 hours before each game. So it's a little bit different than in the times past. So if you're talking about bringing 30 players to that 3-game window, Hoppe should absolutely be on it. Okay. Tack, you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. So Campbell saying, just have to give huge props to who I thought was the man of the match, Miles Robinson, a Syracuse University legend. And I can see the Syracuse logo right there. Keep up the great content, fellas. And yeah, I know we would have the tendency, and they probably gave Matthew Hoppe the man of the match because Matthew Hoppe was very good and scored the game-winning goal. But me personally, I would actually give it to Miles Robinson for this game. I actually agree with that. I thought he was impeccable and key in the back.
Yeah, really, really good from Robinson today. And remember, playing out of position, he's playing on that left-hand side, which is not usually where he plays for Atlanta, right? So you absolutely have to give him credit for that. Okay, next up, we have Matt, I believe. Yeah. Oops, sorry. Matt Helfenfinger. Leggett played so bad towards the end of the second half. Really hope Williamson plays for him on Thursday. Wish I could stay up for this. Matt, when you say Legett's been bad, Leggett is always going to be Leggett. He is going to be neat and tidy in possession when he's got little sideways passes. And when he gets, into the final third, he's neither incisive nor penetrative. In my opinion, that's not enough to offer anything to this team. I wanted to see Williamson. He wasn't bad. He was legit. He was who he is. Very consistent, good at what he does, and a very limited profile as an attacking midfielder. So, yeah, in that sense, he didn't do the job he's supposed to do, which is to create. So, yes, I agree with you. Let's be honest. You guys versus Qatar will just be a third-place match or friendly. The real finals is Canada versus Mexico. Here's your participation money. Matro 25. This sounds like a salty Canadian to me.
Rude Canadian.
A rude Canadian. We'll see what happens. I mean, do we think we're going to beat Qatar? We might easily beat Qatar, but we'll wait and see. You have a tough task. I thought Canada was really good against Costa Rica, but Mexico looks like they're getting better. So it'll be interesting. I'm very curious to see your game. Jeffrey Hernandez, Dominican stud. I've been feeling this way since we beat Canada. I believe this USA team can win the Gold Cup. Should I hold my horses? Tack, you take that one first.
No, I mean, we're on the race, right? We're semifinalists here. We won every single game. Are we the favorites? I still don't think we're the favorites to win it, but you don't need to hold your horses. Celebrate today, and we definitely have a decent chance of winning.
So what I think this team can maybe try to do is grind it out, which is kind of what we've been doing, right? We've been grinding out wins without really dominating games. But, again, that togetherness, that commitment to defending, and then taking chances on the counterattack or on set pieces or finding moments to be clinical and finishing chances when they come. Look, we finished our chance today. Jamaica didn't. And that's kind of the difference. Like Berhalter actually said this before the game. He said those margins are very fine. And he's right. If Bobby Reed scores that goal, which he should have done in the first half, this is a totally different game, right? So those margins are fine. You have a finisher like Matthew Hoppe there, and boom, it's a whole different world, right?
I think it was at the Haiti game, the post-match. They can probably look it up back. We said it that this team, to make it to the final, we would have to 1-0 our way to the final. And it's essentially what's happened. Remember we said something like that? We'll have to 1-0 our way, and that's what's happening right now.
We'd have to like grind it out, right?
Yeah.
So I think be optimistic, because all we have to do now is beat Qatar, right? And then we have a final versus either Mexico or Canada. Justice Vorwerk, what level of club would you like to see Hoppe at this season? Back in the Bundesliga, top 5 league somewhere. Okay, Italy, France, Spain, Germany, even the Premier League, anywhere if he's in a top 5 league. I genuinely think that's the level he should be aiming for and is capable of, in my opinion. What do you think, Tech?
Yeah, he has to be in the top 5 league. He already showed at Schalke that he can be effective. Can he be a fantastic? We don't know if he can be a fantastic player in the top 5 league, but he's shown he can be effective. He's shown again he's levels above all these players in CONCACAF right now. He needs to challenge himself. He needs to be in a top 5 league.
Yeah, agreed. Chris Cosenza, very proud of Miles Robinson, I see. Did Miles lose a header all night? Not to my memory, Chris. Not to my memory. I thought he was so excellent. And again, Chris, what I was so impressed with Miles, and I've been impressed with him throughout this tournament for this exact thing, is his defending in isolation. When he goes up 1v1 for a center back, they don't always win those duels, but he's been so good at, either earlier in the tournament using his body to shove them off the ball and win it, or just holding his position and showing them out wide and not getting beat. And he's just been so good at that. I think he's definitely earned himself a look into that 30-man roster for World Cup qualifying, I believe. Kevin Suarez, imagine Hoppe with Reina and Pulisic. Hoppe is a beast. Yeah, I mean, look, we haven't seen Hoppe play center forward yet, right? We've seen him play off of a center forward. Would I like to see it tried? Maybe, but at the same time, the reason Hoppe's playing wide is because we don't really have any wide players. So we can't really afford to have him play center forward in this tournament right now, in my opinion. That being said, what other center forwards do we have? We got DK and Zardes, neither of whom was really impressive today, right? And neither of them has ever been really impressive in this whole tournament outside of Martinique. Maybe we give, João Aquini a shot against Qatar, as a center forward, which is where he can play too. He's played for Berhalter there before. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see Hoppe here, but maybe in World Cup qualifying, we'll have a chance to see him as a center forward,
So,
all right,
Pete, just one thing for you. I pulled up the stats of Miles Robinson. His ground duels, he won 100% of them. His aerial duels, so everything in the air, he won 70% of them. Oh, actually 75% of them. Pretty good.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Dave Valensky, 3 questions. What's going on in Atlanta? Is Miami proof that the league should have promotion and relegation? And their uniforms look like someone threw a bloody tampon in the wash. Also, we have to give up for our keeper. Okay, so first question, what's going on in Atlanta? Atlanta is kind of pardon my language, but they're a bit of a shit show right now, right? They fired this coach that, was supposed to be an improvement on Frank de Boer, but really wasn't. Sounds like he had some bizarre, training regimen ideas, limiting water intake and very strange things that you can't do in a place like Atlanta, which is very hot, very humid. I personally think that people need to read Felipe Cardenas's from The Athletic. He did a whole piece on Atlanta United and specifically coming down to Carlos Bocanegra, the GM, and what he's doing in that city. And I don't know what's going on in Atlanta. All I know is about what I read, and I can see on the field that sounds like they have a leadership problem. Okay. As far as is Miami proof that the league should have promotion and relegation? I mean, we think the league should have promotion and relegation. It's not going to happen. And I don't think it has anything to do with Miami. I do agree with you about their uniforms. I think they should make them pink. Go all the way. Don't do this off-white pinkish thing. When you say give up for our keeper, are you talking about Matt Turner or are you talking about Brad Guzan in Atlanta? that you've had to give up?
I
Not
think
sure.
he's saying Matt Turner because Dave is
Yeah.
a Minnesota United fan.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave. Certainly, Matt Turner has been absolutely fantastic this whole tournament. Very solid, very reliable. I think reliable is what you want from Matt Turner because he hasn't always been spectacular, but he's made the saves that you expect him to make. And that's huge, right? Alex, random, but odds Triple G captized Pepe during World Cup qualifying. Tack?
So the random odds during World Cup. Look, World Cup qualifying goes all the way to March. So all the way to March, it's possible. Pepe will not be in the squad in September. Probably not in October either. Okay, that's September for sure. There's no way Ricardo Pepe will be there in September. I don't see Berhalter doing so. Now, all the way till March, that's anyone's guess, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
Unlikely, though. Unlikely.
I'd say it's unlikely, but you never know. A lot depends on his own performances, in my opinion, right? What are his performances like? Steven Nagishi, Leggett doesn't play with any urgency and purpose, just awful. I mean, look, it's the same thing with Leggett every time. He kills counterattacks because he needs 4 or 5 touches to settle the ball and look around, and he's slow to make decisions. And he lacks penetration and incisiveness from midfield. That being said, he's very good at sideways and backwards passes. That's Leggett for you. It's not just a lack of urgency and purpose. I genuinely think he can't play that way. He doesn't have the skill, right? Kyle Dosses says, Jackson Ewell did not touch the field. Jackson Ewell did not touch the field.
True.
Sorry if I'm missing these guys. I have to go back up here. Dan B, as much stick as we give Acosta, I feel he may have the highest motor in the U.S. pool. I think there may be a spot for him in the 23-man as a destroyer. You want to take this one?
Well, highest motor, he doesn't have a higher motor than Tyler Adams right away.
No. And by the way, they said that on the thing that he should be the backup to Tyler Adams. It was John Strong. And then Stu Holden goes, and sometimes even ahead of Tyler Adams. And I was just like, okay, stuff.
No.
Also, I still think James Sands should be there ahead of Kellen Acosta because Kellen Acosta is inconsistent, guys. We've seen terrible performances from Acosta in that same position. Unless he starts putting together really strong performances consistently at the 6, no, I'd still rather have James Sands. That said, he was very good today.
Pete, it seems like we need to play Acosta against Jamaica in World Cup qualifying. He likes to play well against Jamaica. Remember in March?
Yeah, he was pretty good against Jamaica, but then against Northern Ireland, terrible, right? In this tournament,
He likes Jamaica.
He likes Jamaica, yeah. In this tournament, good against Haiti, bad against Canada, good today, right? So up and down, needs more consistency. Jordan Alford, scrappy performance today, but it got the job done. I think we can win it, but we're definitely not favorites. I agree. We're not favorites. Qatar will be very telling. Remember, guys, we've been scrapping our way through. Can we continue to scrap our way through to the final and then scrap our way through Mexico? We will see. Time will tell. I still think there's limitations there, but overall, yes, we've done the job, and that's huge. Good. Hoppe, Robinson, Acosta. Bad. Leggett and DK. Yeah, I agree with that. Pretty much agree with that, Tyler. Duncan, we can't play that way versus Mexico. You want to take this, Tack?
We can't play that way versus Mexico. P.S. Does it look like Matt Turner is wearing an eyeliner? So I did not notice the eyeliner. If he's wearing, that's his problem, I guess. But we can't play that way. Guys, look, we're not going to play much different from this any games in the tournament.
No.
Yeah, we're going to face Mexico like this.
Yeah, and this is the roster we have, right? The roster was poorly constructed, right? We've said that many times. Part of it was not Berhalter's fault because a lot of players that he wanted either turned down a call-up or weren't available for one reason or another. Part of it is his fault, right? Because there were players available he should have brought instead of some of these guys. Now, that being said, these are the guys we have. So we're not going to put in better performances because a lot of these guys just aren't at that level, right? So I mean, maybe if Williamson comes on the field, we'll have a little more spark. But generally speaking, we're going to be defensive. We're going to, work hard off the ball. And we're going to try and create chances, maybe from wide, get crosses in, play direct, hit them on the counterattack, win some set pieces. That's what we're going to try to do the rest of the tournament. Will it be enough to win it? I doubt it, but you never know. It's football. It's 90 minutes. Anything can happen, right?
And Pete, just to add one thing, guys, we have 1,400 people watching, which is awesome,
Woo!
and 382 likes. So
okay, smash the like button.
500 to a very least 500, and it's a great way to support the channel. That's how we get more people to find us. The super chats are great as well, but hitting the like button is very underrated here on YouTube. So make sure to hit it. We get more people.
Guys.
At least 500. At least 500.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Hit the like button. It really does help. Trey Allen, is Hoppe staying with Schalke or is he going to transfer somewhere? We don't know. I think Filippo and I know he wants to move, right? He's looking to go somewhere. Hopefully his performances in this Gold Cup will earn him a move, right?
So he had offers, but apparently the offers were in the range of around 3 million euros or $3 million. They want something a little closer to 10, like within 8 to 12 million. They want something in that range. So the problem has been numbers.
Yeah. It's, is anyone going to pay for Hoppe? We'll have to wait and see. I hope so. I hope he gets out of the 2 Bundesliga because I think he's too good for that league. But we don't know yet. Benjamin De Rosia, Hoppe should start at striker against Qatar. Play Nico on the wing. Gives us a more dynamic front three. I don't think Nico is a winger either. This is the problem, right? And if you're going to play Areola on the right wing, I don't think Areola was particularly good today. Look, I want Hoppe to get a chance maybe with the first team as a center forward, but then who are you going to play wide left? Again, it's down to the roster construction. We didn't bring enough wingers, so now Hoppe's having to play on the left. So we can't really afford to play Hoppe in the middle right now. That's kind of how I feel. Do you agree, Tech?
Yeah, for this team, I wouldn't put Hoppe in the middle. If we go with our main squad where we have other guys that can create, we have many guys that can create, yes, I would actually put Hoppe as our center forward. But for this team specifically, it won't work. The only way it would work is if we play with 2 strikers. And like we talked about in the stream, he plays as a deep lying forward behind that center forward.
Yeah. Maybe as a second forward, I can understand it. I'm slightly worried from Ray about our lack of creativity for the Qatar game. Their defense isn't great, but we'll have to execute our chances. Akram Afif could give us fits. Yeah. Look, they also didn't have Leon Bailey tonight, right? I mean, we did well to finish the chances that we had, or the chance rather, and Jamaica didn't. I think Qatar is going to be a tough game, but lack of creativity has hurt us this entire tournament, right? We're scrapping our way to these wins, and kudos for that. But yeah, the creativity has been a problem for a long time.
So Qatar, real quick, to add to them, because I've been following them the whole tournament, they play normally for 5-3-2, and when they attack, it's a 3-5-2. The way they play is they don't hold possession much. They soak up the pressure and counter, usually with Batin, Al-Haidos, and Afif up top. They're very creative, these guys, and that's how they are. They're very efficient. They usually have less than 50% of ball possession and get a lot of goals, 3 goals for most games. So we're going to have to figure out how to break that 5 in the back that they play. We'll see.
Yeah. And they're a very well-drilled team. A lot of these guys play together on the same clubs in Qatar. So they know each other very well. David Howard, Leget's problem is that he thinks he's better than he is. He wants to be Messi, but doesn't have that kind of skill. He needs to play simple. I mean, I don't know if it's that he thinks he's better than he is. I just think that Leget takes a long time to make decisions, right? He settles the ball, and oftentimes on the counterattack, right? When there isn't a simple, obvious pass, that's when we see him kill counterattacks with 6, 7, 8, 9 touches. And I mean, this is not news to anyone, right? This is the same thing over and over again from Leget, and that's who he is. I think we'd be better served with a guy like Eric Williamson in there, but Berhalter clearly disagrees, right? So, Tack.
Yeah, it's what we've always said about Sebastian Lletget. A lot of you have been saying he had a terrible game. He didn't have a terrible game. He had the same game he almost always has for us. The only difference is sometimes he'll score like a lucky goal and everyone will say how good he is. But he always has the exact same game. Too many touches, slows down the game, can't create plays. It's not good on set pieces, to be fair, too.
No.
But nothing was new.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost just like what we've come to expect from Sebastian Lletget. All right, Sergio Skywalker. Areola as captain irks me. I don't know who can captain this team without Zimmerman. I would like Reggie Cannon or even Acosta to wear the armband. Look, honestly, Sergio, captain is overrated. I just think it's one of those things that people put too much weight on. You know, anybody can wear the captain's armband so long as they're a good leader and vocal and understands the game and people respect them. It's not the end of the world, in my opinion, who wears the armband. Although I would like to see one person hang on to it.
Well, the thing with the armband, guys, it's just a symbol, right? It's the player that technically can talk to the ref in the game, but at the end of the day, everyone talks to the ref. It's the guy that also figures out who's going to start the ball. At the end of the day, the leader's the leader. It doesn't matter who's wearing the captain armband.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's overhyped in a lot of places, including here. M13 like CR7 stepovers and ball rolls best Gold Cup forward easy. So you mean Matthew Hoppe is like Cristiano Ronaldo, stepovers and ball rolls. Well, I mean, I think what you're trying to say is a very technical player, and I agree with you there. I don't know if he's the best forward in the Gold Cup, but he's definitely the best attacker that we have right now. And I think that has been clear since he came on against, was it Haiti in the first game as a substitute? Immediately you saw this guy's got ability, right?
Well, I don't think he's the best forward in Gold Cup right now, at least until proven, right? We do still have Tecatitos there. That's a pretty good forward. Funes Mori has been a pretty big surprise. He's been very good for Mexico.
Yeah.
Buchanan has been playing well for Canada, played well again today.
Yeah.
But anyhow.
CONCACAF. If Elon was a fan and players were cryptocurrencies, which would be pump and dump? Joking. Just want to say thanks for the show / guest / analysis and fish. Fish? What's fish?
I don't know.
Idea. Must be some inside joke that I'm not inside on. S27, I can't find the old super chats because they disappear. I'm sorry. I had to tell you guys at the beginning that I wasn't going to read super chats because we have to go through the things we have to talk about. I'm sorry if I missed yours, S27. Please put it in the chat again and I'll answer it. Like for free. Just put a normal chat and I'll answer it, okay? And anybody else who put a super chat, I apologize. At the beginning, we wanted to talk about some of the positives. We're reading super chats now, and then we'll get into some issues to discuss, things that are important to discuss, and then we'll have player ratings at the end, okay? Dakotas to Eva Dalt. Hoppe was playing with Dempsey swagger tonight. I agree. He reminded me a lot of Dempsey on the ball. Trying things, not afraid to take players on, not afraid to be creative, to play by instinct instead of the same stale, boring, safe passes, right? Took people on. What did you think, Tack?
Well, he was like every game, right? He was just given more minutes. Every game has been like that. He was given more minutes, and he created plays. He got that nice ball to Shaq Moore that could have been an assist. He scored his goal. He did gas out a little bit towards the end of the game, maybe because he tried too much. Again, he's also young. As the players get older, they know how to use their energy and their body a little bit better. They know when they can push and when they can't. Maybe also preseason shape, whatever it is. But Matthew Hoppe is pretty good. And yeah, he gave a little bit of a Dempsey swagger vibes at times.
The other thing we have to consider is that it's frustrating. It can be frustrating when you're playing with players who are not at your level, right? We see it, the ball to Shaq Moore that Shaq Moore has to finish. Then he dribbles down the wing and dishes to Sam Vines in the box, and Sam Vines has a poor touch and loses it away, right? There's an element at some point of just like, never mind, I'll just do it myself. And I think that's what we saw a little bit from Hoppe as well, maybe overdoing it, trying to go it alone. But that's because he has very few people who can actually play at his level. You don't understand how frustrating that is, right? When you know how to play the game in tight spaces, you have vision, creativity, intelligence, all the things. And then the guys that you're playing with, a lot of them don't have that. So it is frustrating, right? Okay, Duncan Sigurdsson. Leggett used to play kind of a CAM, second striker role, and that's what's got him to the USMNT. Why is he an 8/6 now? Well, first of all, he's always been an attacking midfielder his whole career, even for Galaxy. He's not really a second forward. You can play him there. It's not really his best game. He's not playing as a 6 right now. He's playing as a dual 8, really more of an attacking midfielder. Again, I just feel like talking about Leggett is almost a moot point because we do it so much. But Leggett is who he is. I'll say it again. I mean, he is a connector, not a penetrator, or he's not incisive or creative. He's just sideways, sideways, backwards, backwards, right? And then maybe a cross now and then. That's who Leggett is. He's not someone I think should be on the national team going forward, but I've said this 100 times. I don't need to keep harping on the same thing. All right, where are these at? Few more, and then we'll talk about some of the issues, because there were plenty. All right, Areola, this is from Chad Van Brunt. Areola is a liability. Guy has no skill with the ball. He is full of bad touches and shanks. Think Triple G will keep him out next game? You want to take this one, Tack?
Yeah, so a couple of things about Areola. I don't rate him very highly, but I do think he also performed worse than he normally does. Maybe if he's fully fit, he might not be fully fit. Now, do I think he'll keep him out for the next game? No, I think Areola will probably start again. He was the captain also.
We have so little width, too. That's the problem. So we have no wide players. Areola has to go. Look, I don't think Areola should be involved with the first squad, the A team. But for this, he's fine. He's not perfect. We know he has got not a lot of skill with the ball. He's a hard worker that can do the simple things right. Okay, that's Areola for you. But yeah, I think his performance today was definitely affected by, coming off of an injury. 24/7 Pro. The reason why Eric Williamson doesn't play is because if he does well, he can't bench Leggett. And am I the only one that thinks we were horrible today? Look, 24/7. Let's start the first part. You might be right. For some reason, Leggett or Berhalter doesn't rate Williamson, and he really rates Leggett. I don't get it myself. I don't see it. Okay. As far as were we horrible today, context matters. You know what I mean? For the players that we have in this roster, we were not horrible. We just played to the strengths of the players that we had, right? We played to the level that I expect these guys to be playing at. It's a lot of MLS guys, not a lot of skill, not a lot of creativity, not a lot of technique. Matthew Hoppe is your best player. That was what I expected. But at least what you want to see when you have those players is commitment, togetherness, a bit, defensive solidity, right? Good tactical shape. Yeah, and mostly I thought we were that tonight. What we lacked is all the things that you get from creative players that we don't really have on this roster. What do you think, Tech?
So I think the explanation for Eric Williamson is actually fairly simple, the reason he doesn't play. Like Pete has said in the past several times, we don't have a culture, at least with our coaches, of prioritizing creative players. What happens with creative players is creative players are more likely to take a risk and to lose the ball. Okay, that is what creative players do. They take risks, lose the ball. Sebastian Leggett, for example, is not a creative player. He doesn't lose the ball very often, right? He does the simple. Eric Williamson will lose the ball more often, and our coaches don't like that. He'll create more plays, he'll be creative, but he will lose the ball more. It's a fact. We've seen that in the game. And you can see this with many different national teams. You give players the freedom to create, they'll lose the ball more, but they'll create more plays. Our coach doesn't like that. So Eric Williamson will probably get less minutes or no minutes until the end of Gold Cup.
I also think that though players can lose the ball, sometimes, you have to give them time to learn to adapt, to understand when to do the creative, the unexpected, the improvisational, and when to just keep it simple. And the only way to learn that is to give them time on the playing field. And the fact that we're not giving Eric any time, not even 10 minutes at the end, bothers me. Okay, I'm not going to come down too hard on it because we won the game. But Willie, this is very American too. It's very American to be like, we want safe passers of the ball rather than, risky passers. And I understand it to a degree. But if you didn't want to start him, the thing is, so many problems stem from midfield. So I felt like in the second half, you could have brought him on at some point. All right. USMNT insiders got it right. Hoppe, Miles Acosta up for man of the match. Hoppe got it, but insiders got it right. Who's insiders?
I don't know.
Was that the previous super chat who said those were his three guys up for man of the match?
I don't know if insiders is like the fans voting. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. Okay. Hoppe has the fire and the cockiness U.S. soccer is missing. We have it in every other sport. Can't wait for this new gen of guys to change the culture. Yeah, Hoppe is in the mold of Gio Reyna and Christian Pulisic and Weston McKennie. He's that type of a player, right? He's not scared. He knows he's skillful. He knows he has ability. And while sometimes his decision-making lacks maturity, generally speaking, he's exactly what we want. You're 100% right, Jack. 100%. Mike Irish. Players who have made a case for future looks so far. Hoppe, Turner, Robinson, Sands, Busio, Moore. Hoppe, Turner, Robinson. Yeah, 100%. In fact, those are the 6 players that I highlighted, plus Walker Zimmerman in a video last week talking about who's impressed so far. And today we saw more of the same from those guys. So, yeah, 100%, Mike. Really good from those, not from everybody else, right?
So, just to add to that list, not because of good performances, but for utility, Daryl DK2 has to be in that list. Not for good performances.
Right, but because he gives us something different.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
A different option off the bench. I don't think he's a starter for us, though. And a lot of people were calling, guys, a lot of people were calling for DK after Costa Rica. He has to be our number one. He has to be our number one. And Tack and I said, wait, this is a friendly against a very bad Costa Rica team. We need to see him in competition as a number 9 and then see how he does. And guys, so far in this camp, outside of Martinique, he hasn't been that great. And I think that's been pretty obvious to a lot of people. Chris Casenza says, USMNT insiders vote. Oh, okay. Is this like on the app or something? The US Soccer app?
I guess. Oh, USMNT insiders are the ones that can get the tickets early, something like that, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. That's all right. Look, let's talk about let's talk about some of the issues, because there were issues today. I don't think anyone's saying we played well in terms of chance creation or fluidity or quote unquote balance or any of those things. And I think it's important to talk about some of the issues. Do you want to start with that, Tack?
Yeah, the main issue I had today was, it was something I was worried about because of Berhalter's press conference. We do struggle to create. So I was expecting us to be a little bit more dangerous on set pieces, but we continue to not offer much of a threat on set. Very poorly taken by Leggett. And then Sam Vines, I think, started to take it later in the game, and it wasn't much better as well. So we defended just fine on set pieces, but attacking, useless, completely useless. The short ones were terrible as well. So that's an issue that Berhalter could try to figure out by Thursday, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, but again, I agree with you that the passing was not good, but I think a lot of that is who you have in your midfield, right?
No, short passing of the corners. The short passing.
Oh, the corners. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, you're right. I think corners, maybe we have to figure out if Busio can take them. If we start him against Qatar, can we give Busio? Because we did, it was mostly Leggett, and I said, well, let's have a look at Sam Vines. Sam Vines, I think, took 1 or 2 in the second half, and they were not very good. Sam Vines' weren't very good either. I don't know why Busio's not taking them anymore. I wish he had. Other issues we still have, up top. There's no striker who's impressed, right? Daryl DK is not really impressed. Jassy Zardes hasn't really impressed. And I think a lot of that is just a function of who they are as players. They're not elite players. They're not guys who, technically are very strong. And I think that shows. So like we've said, we're going to have to nickel and dime and scrap our way to this as far as we can go in this tournament, because there's a real lack of quality in this squad. And I think that's obvious to everybody.
Yeah, I think another negative is based off the other performances of the teams that are left in this tournament from what we've seen from Qatar, Canada, and Mexico. We're technically the weakest team out of the 4 left right now. Based on performances, guys, okay? Just being honest here. If you watched all other teams, based on performances, we're the weakest team left.
Yeah, we really are. And that's obvious. Like, we can be, good defensively and finish chances when they come. But overall, Tack is 100% right. We still have a lot of work to do technically, and that's a byproduct of the roster. Sam Vines and Acosta had decent games. Not the best offensively, but good overall. I'm going to go further with Acosta than decent, because I thought Acosta was actually pretty good, minus 1 or 2 good giveaways. But I agree with you about Sam Vines. Sam Vines was mostly decent. Again, he had a couple of moments where you're like, you shouldn't get beat there, or you can't give it away there. But generally speaking, I think solid is, what you would get from Sam Vines. So, yeah, Nabuto, I'll answer this question real quick. Did you say there's going to be 30-man rosters for World Cup qualifying CONCACAF? So this is how it's going to work, guys. You can take a big roster for the 3-game window. I don't know if there's a limit on it, but you can take a big roster. Then 24 hours before each game, you name a 23-man roster for that game. So you can take bigger rosters. I'm throwing out 30 as a random number. It could be 28. It could be more than 30. It could be 27. I don't know. But yeah, about that. 28 to 32 would be my guess. And then you name 23, 23, and 23. Guys, hit the like button if you haven't already. Issues. I want to talk about this again. I just thought when we needed a spark of creativity, bringing on Eric Williamson would have been a good idea, but we didn't do that. And that's just, it's a small complaint, but we keep seeing this. Eric Williamson being ignored. And Tack brings up a good point that maybe it's a prioritizing safety and possession over creativity, which can be risky sometimes. I still think you can afford to have one or two of those guys because of what they bring on the ball, on the attacking third of the field, is worth the one or two giveaways here and there. That's my opinion, though. Can you think of any other issues that were real issues to talk about tonight?
No, anything else we mentioned was just going to be repetitive, right? Lack of creativity in open play, which is pretty much what you just said. The set pieces. I mean, Acosta wasn't an issue today, but just Acosta's inconsistency is always an issue. Today he was great, and
right.
then he's going to play next match again against Qatar, and we don't know what Acosta we're going to get. So
that's the problem.
Acosta continues to worry me. Shaq Moore. So I think. There's one issue I have with Shaq Moore's game, okay? And here's the issue. Roldan did 2 high crosses, and they were very dangerous, and one was the goal. Shaq Moore always does these mid-height crosses, right, which they're dangerous. I like them, and they work a lot of the times, and they might work better with Pulisic coming in and guys that are smaller. But it seemed like Shaq Moore can't adjust. He only has that cross. He doesn't try anything different. So that was an issue with his game. I thought he would try something different since he was constantly doing those mid-cross and it wouldn't work. He never shifted it. So, I don't know.
So a little one-dimensional today, but overall, I don't think Shaq Moore was bad. I think he was fine.
He was good.
All right, Longmorn 16, MLS mindset, possession over all other things. If a creative player loses the ball, that's a negative in the MLS mindset. Holding the ball while passing backwards and sideways allows you to keep the ball, but then no offensive pressure. Yeah, it's also predictable, right? I mean, they know if they'll put pressure on you, you just go backwards or you go sideways. So, I mean, look, I agree. This is an American mindset that we're going to have to get over. We're going to have to get over our obsession with safety and, take some risks and give some creative players some more opportunities, especially in midfield. Because, guys, this is a problem even with our first team. We saw it in Nations League. Creative players being shunted wide, Yule and Leggett being handed the midfield, right? So it's not just with this team. This is a problem with the first team as well. Okay. All right. Make sure I got all of these here, and then we'll get into player ratings.
My favorite part.
Kevin Suarez, has Robinson moved up the depth chart? Can you guys rank our center backs? So do you mean the depth chart in our heads or in Greg Berhalter's head? Because there's a real difference, in my opinion.
I think it's ours, right?
It's got to be ours. You want to start ranking the center backs? Give me your rankings.
Brooks has to be number 1. Richards number 2. I'll go probably with Mark McKenzie number 3. Now 4. We don't have Long. Long is done for the year. Zimmerman. I don't know for how long Zimmerman's out, and he's been good too. Who else we have? Then the other options are Miazga, Robinson. From what I'm seeing from Robinson, I would put him in the same level above Miazga. Miazga right now doesn't really have a club because he's not going to play for Chelsea, right? So he doesn't have a club. So maybe Robinson could be our 4th option right there when it comes September, at least for me.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think Robinson is probably 4th right now. We don't know how long Zimmerman's going to be out for. Zimmerman was really good before he got injured too. He's probably 5th for me. And then Miazga's probably dropped down to 6 right now, He hasn't really been very consistent for the U.S. or for his club, and now we'll have to see where he goes. He's kind of in a up and down situation. All right, a couple more questions here, and then we'll get into player ratings. Dave Valensky, what do you think will be the U.S. third goalkeeper going into qualifying? And I don't think you answered $9 question. It was the same one. Which $9 question? Did I miss one here? I'm sorry if I did.
At least it was the same one, so we can't answer now.
Yeah. Probably Matt Turner. I imagine Horvath, Steffen, and Turner will be our goalkeepers going into World Cup qualifying. That's my guess. What about you? You think so too, or do you think it will?
Yeah, I think he's going to go with the three best options, and those are the three best options. I don't think he's going to bring Ochoa just to cap tie Ochoa. Not going to do something.
No, I don't think so either. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it. All right, guys, let's get into our favorite one, and that is player ratings. Let's start with goalkeeper, Matt Turner. So, guys, for these ratings, as always, 10 is excellent, flawless. So flawless is 10. And then 5 is very average. 1 is just terrible. So, all right, go ahead. You want to start with Turner?
Yeah, I'm going to give Turner a 9 right away. There's absolutely nothing I can complain about him today. I know we did shift, so we didn't have to use him with his feet as much, but he made at least 2 saves that were very tough, 2 tough saves, and then several simple saves that he was a very secure goalkeeper. I give him a 9.
Yeah, I'm going to join you on that. I'm going to give him a 9. He wasn't flawless, but he was really, really good. And, our big complaints about Turner before were, passing out of the back is not his strong point. But today he wasn't asked to do that, so that's no longer a factor in this rating, right? I'm going to give him a 9. Shaq Moore. I'll start with Shaq Moore. I'll give him a 6. He was good. He was not great. There were moments where he should have done better, particularly on that Matthew Hoppe cross. He got caught out a few times, but I think that was more a product of him getting high at the field than him doing anything wrong, in my opinion. So he was good, not great. I'm going to give him a 6.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. The only thing I'm going to add is I'm going to give him a 5, an average performance, more because I feel like players need to have a feeling in the game when something's not working, and he kept insisting on the same types of crosses that Liam Moore and Damian Lowe kept cutting it very easily. We couldn't get the ball on it, and then Roldan did something different, and it worked. So I'm giving him an average for that reason specifically.
Fair enough. All right, James Sands. You start with
7.
Sands.
I'll give him a 7.
I'll give him an 8. I'll give him an 8. I would have given him higher, but he did cough up that ball in the second half that led to a direct counterattack, and then he recovered there. But I'll give him an 8 because I thought he was very good on the day. Miles Robinson. I'm going to start with Miles Robinson. I'm going to give him a 9.
I'm giving him a 9.5 because he's my man at the match. I don't remember him making any mistakes. I can't remember. I think it was I can't remember who he tackled. It might have been Burke. It was just such a clean tackle in the box. And along with that, he was just impeccable. I'm giving him a 9.5 because he was my man at the match.
Yeah, agreed. So 9 for Miles Robinson. Well, I'm 9, you're 9.5. Sam Vines.
Do you want to go first or me?
You go first because I went first on Robinson.
Yeah, I'll give him a 6. I think he was a little bit above average today. He was fine on defense. On offense, he was just Sam Vines. Didn't offer much, but I think I can't complain about Vines today. So I'll give him a 6 today. He was above average.
Yeah, I think sort of good, not great is sort of how I describe Vines. Still doesn't offer, occasionally puts a good cross, but isn't really penetrating or, 1v1 can't dribble in offense, but was defensively solid and competent. So, yeah, 6. 6 for Sam Vines. Let's move into Kellen Acosta. I'll start with Kellen Acosta. I'm going to give him an 8 because he did cough up the ball a few times unnecessarily and got caught out in possession. But overall, I thought he was good. I'm giving him an 8.
Yeah, I'm going to give him the 8 as well. Defensively, he was everything I could ask him to be. Protected the back line very well. He did also make some fouls on our offensive end, which were pretty smart to stop counters in transition. That's why we were good in transition today, along with Miles Robinson being good in isolation. But I give him an 8 because on the ball, he didn't offer much. But defensively, he was key for our win today, Kellyn Acosta.
Yeah. And let's hope we see more of those performances from Kellyn Acosta, because we usually don't, right? It's like this. So let's see how he does against Qatar on Thursday. Gianluca Busio. This is going to be an interesting one. Where do you give Busio?
I'm actually going to give Busio a 5. I think he was average. He wasn't very good in the first half, in my opinion, at least. But the second half, he played better than the first half. Wasn't perfect, but better. So I give him an average performance overall, adding both halves. Yeah,
I'm going to give him the same. 5 for me. He had some good moments where you really saw his quality, and then a lot of moments where you're just like, you can tell he lacks that mental side of the game still. He lacks maturity and decision-making. Decision-making is a big one on the ball. Not heavily influential, but not terrible either. Mm-hmm. Let's move forward into our favorite midfielder, Sebastian Lletget. I'll start with Sebastian Lletget. I will give him a 6. No, I'm going to give him a 5. A 5 because, and maybe it's just because I've gotten so used to who Lletget is that I don't expect more from him. I just know. But no, you know what? I'm going to give him I'm sorry, I got to move this to 4 because his set pieces were terrible. He was not incisive on the ball, and he stopped counterattacks. You know, like he prevented counterattacks from being useful by taking too many touches and taking too long to make and execute decisions. So 4 for Lletget for me.
Yeah, I will go. Like you said, his performance was just like so average. Everything about it was just nothing. It was like he'll do the sideway pass, so he'll get it right. So how do you rate him bad for that? But again, he didn't create. That's the role of a midfielder. He needs to create, connect the passes forward, not back or sideways all the time. The set pieces were terrible. I'm going to give Lletget also. I'll give him a 4.5, I guess, close to average.
Yeah.
It's so hard to rate. It's always the same thing.
Yeah. It's the same from Lletget every time, guys. Same from Lletget. All right. Moving forward into the wing, Matthew Hoppe.
I'm going to give Hoppe. So I gave this 9 to Turner. I'm going to give Hoppe a 9 as well. Just below Miles Robinson to me. Very good performance, gassed out, and got the game-winning goal. So I give him a 9.
Yeah, same for me. 9 for Matthew Hoppe. I hope he starts against Qatar. In fact, I would say at this point he has to start against Qatar. Whether you think he's fully fit to go 90 minutes or not, you have to start him because he's our best outlet in attack. That's become very clear over the course of, this whole tournament. Daryl DK.
Here we go.
Yeah, I'll give him a 3. I just thought he was really poor today. Really, really poor. Technically very poor. And here's the other thing about DK, and this is what bothers me the most. The one thing that we should be able to expect from DK, regardless of his technique, is his ability to hold off players, right? And be physical and win those aerial duels, win those 1v1 duels, hold up the ball. He did not do that today. So I'm going to give him a 3. Not impressed with DK, guys, in this tournament. Really not.
I actually might be even a little harsher. I might give him a 2 because he literally offered nothing today. Damian Lowe and Liam Moore bodied the heck out of DK. DK could not win one header. There was a counter that he also tried to make a run, and he had a heavy touch that just went through the for a throw-in for Jamaica. Too much. And we're going to talk about Zardes too. Zardes was better than DK, for example. So I'm going to give DK actually a 2 today. It was very poor performance from him.
Okay. Yeah. Look, and guys, remember after Martinique, some people were getting very excited about DK. He just bulldozed his way through the defense. He's our number 1. Start him in World Cup qualifying. He's a Manchester United player. Guys, we can't overreact to what we do against minnows. We can't. We have to see them against better opposition in competitive games, and that's more telling.
Pete, remember when I made a whole video dedicated to proving why DK was not ready to play in the Premier League? Not just with highlight, trying to use stats and logic. And some people agreed, and I changed their mind, but some people are just saying I was a hater and I don't know DK. I think by now, can we all agree that there's no way DK could play in the Premier League nowadays? Right now, at least today.
No,
Today,
he
no.
can't, guys. He can't. And people, I think, got excited because he scored a lot of goals in the championship, and they didn't realize the way Barnsley played just suits Daryl DK, you know? So you have to, like, not get too excited when somebody does a few good things against the minnow. You have to, you know, judge the overall arc of their career and where they're at and watch them for their club too, right? Archie Goss. Okay, we'll get to Archie Goss's question after. Paul Arriola is the next one.
I'll give him a 4. Below average performance, but it's not like he was completely terrible. And also, I'm going to give the guy a break. He was coming back from injury, and I think Berhalter just didn't have another option. I'll give him a 4. He was below average, but I think Arriola will start on Thursday. I think we'll see a little bit of a better Paul Arriola on Thursday.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope we see a better Paul Arriola. He was not great. A lot of that could have been down to injuries. I'm going to give him a 4. Substitutes. And the first substitute to come in was none other than, there was 2 of them actually at the same time, right? It was Roldan and Gioacchini. No, it was Roldan and Zardes, right? Roldan came on.
Roldan and Zardes.
Roldan came on for Arriola, and Zardes came on for DK. Let's start with Roldan. I'm going to give Roldan. I'll give Roldan a 7 today. Even though I think, you know, because he did assist that winning goal. Overall, I thought his play was 5. You know, just a very typical Roldan performance. Lots of hustle and fight, very little quality. But then that cross was very good, which, you know, led to the goal. And he had a few other good moments. So I'm going to be generous, probably a little too generous, but I'll give him a 7 today.
Yeah, I'll be a little less generous. I'll give him a 6.5. But yeah, he got the assist, so he was key for us to win. He did put in a lot of work, as always. We always get that from him. He bodied Jamaicans a lot. So yeah, 6.5. Congratulations, Roldan. Usually we're very harsh on him, but today.
Yeah. And guys, we're not endorsing anybody for saying this is not overall commentary on who we think they are overall as a player. We're just commenting on today's performance. That's what these ratings are about. Okay. So don't take them too seriously. Okay. The other one that came on was Gyasi Zardes. How do you rate him?
I'm giving him the same rating as Roldan, actually. He came in, put in effort again, was better than D. I'm going to give him a 6, actually, a little above average. Yeah, he had a nice shot. He almost scored. When he came in. Yeah. He somewhat participated in the goal. He was there in the mix, like affecting the play, so he was part of it. I'm giving Zardes a 6 today, surprisingly, too.
Yeah, I'll give Zardes a 6. Here's the question. Do you think he starts against Qatar, or do you think we see DK again?
I think there's a possibility we might see Gyasi Zardes. He outplayed DK today.
Yeah, he did. He was better than DK. Not by that much, in my opinion. And overall, we've seen enough of Zardes. But for this roster, he's probably our best option at the 9 right now, based on DK's. Personally, I would like to see Gioacchini at the 9. I think that Gioacchini deserves at least a shot there, at least a look. But I don't think Greg will see him. I don't think we'll see him there because Greg wants him to play as a winger. Then the next substitute right after Matthew Hoppe scores his goals was Gioacchini, right? Really didn't see much from Gioacchini in my opinion, but Gioacchini's being played out of position, right? Gioacchini is a 9. Okay, even Khan, when they play him there, he's not very good on the wing. I'll give him a 5. He worked hard and he tried to get involved in the game, but he couldn't really find it. He was very average to me, but he's being played out of position, so I expected that.
He also played like 5 minutes or something between 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah,
it was like 8 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know what to rate him, man. I'll give him a 5 as well, but I don't know. There was nothing bad or good from Gioacchini.
Yeah, and then Reggie Cannon is the last one, right? Came on for Shaq Moore.
Yeah.
How you rate Reggie?
Same thing as Gioacchini. Like, he did fine on defense, right? He held his own on defense. Didn't really do much on offense. It was kind of like that end of the game, right, where we're just holding the 1-0 lead. We don't care about scoring anymore. I'm going to give Reggie Cannon a 5 too. It's hard to rate these guys that played less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, it is very, very hard. And finally, Greg Berhalter coach, got the 1-0 win, got onto the semifinal. I thought mostly got the lineup pretty on point. I didn't love every single one of his substitutions. I still thought we could have seen Williamson there, especially to give us some creativity in midfield. I thought Leggett, the set pieces, Leggett playing set pieces is something that shouldn't be happening. So I'm going to criticize that as well. But overall, I think Berhalter got it right on the day, and I'm going to give him an 8.
Yeah, I'm going to give Berhalter a 7. I think overall he was just fine. But then again, I'm not going to praise the mailman for delivering the mail, right? A lot of what he did was the obvious at this point. It's almost as if we're going to rate him higher just because he didn't do one of those Berhalter things, right? Of Jonathan Lewis starting, Jackson Yu at the 6. But yeah, and also he went against a not so very good coach, Whitmore. He's been in Jamaica forever. We know Whitmore. He's really not a good coach. I don't know if there's any politics involved, why he's always there.
Yeah.
So that played a role. But I'll give Berhalter a 7. I'm not going to give him a bad grade because he did what he could do with this roster, and the subs were all right.
Yeah. Let me change mine to a 7 because I also remembered Matthew Hoppe they were trying to pull him off before he scored his goal. If that ball crosses the white line, do we score that goal? I don't know. So I'm gonna go back to 7 for Bird because there were other issues. And maybe you're right. Maybe I'm at a point where I give him credit for things that are very basic just because our expectations are so low with Berhalter. And the fact that Leggett played for 90 minutes, guys, that's on Berhalter too. So yeah, got the win, did the job, had some, a lot of good decisions, but still quite a few not great ones. So I'll give you the 7. All right. So guys, before we end this for the night, and thank you, by the way, everybody, for all your comments, just for being here, for hanging out with us. Again, smash that like button if you haven't already. I want to bring up one thing. The problem, what we're seeing with this team is going to continue to be a problem with even the senior team, as we saw in Nations League, if we don't get creative, technical players in midfield, okay? If we continue to play guys like Leggett and Yule in World Cup qualifying, we're going to have a lot of the same issues. It doesn't matter if you have Pulisic and Reina up there. If you can't feed the ball to them, you're going to have a lot of the same problems. So we're fighting and we're scrapping our way through this tournament with a very defensive performance, and kudos to us for doing that. But the problems in midfield remain, and they're going to remain unless we finally get to understanding and realizing that we need more creativity in our midfield. And that means Yunus Musa, Luca De La Torre, Gio Reyna, Brendan Aronson, all these guys who can do that. Okay, Archie Goss. I don't want to be political, but let's kick the crap out of Qatar in the name of all those workers who died during those World Cup stadiums. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Qatar, and I didn't want the World Cup played there. But yes, I'm with you on that. Let's kick their ass. Why not? Mike Irish, one note on Busio. He was bullied, but he fought. Sometimes he looks like he doesn't have fight in him. I thought today he was actually better at that aspect of the game. When he lost the ball, you saw him working a lot harder to win it back and than he did against Canada. What did you think?
So Gianluca Busio, he did fight. But again, guys, it's certain things that that's what you expect from the player. You need a fight when you're in the field. You need to try to body people. It's not like Busio fighting for the ball and trying to body people. It's just he needs to figure out a way to not get bullied in the midfield. That's on him. I'm not going to give him credit. Like, if you're in the field, you need to give 100% and body people and be going for it. That's not something you praise.
I agree. And look, guys, the national team is not a charity. If you want to play, if you want to represent 330 million Americans and you want to wear that shirt, you absolutely have to fight every time you cross the line. That is a given. That is American soccer culture, soccer lore. 100%. He's gotten better at it. But I don't think a lack of fight was ever the problem, Mike Baker. I think it was more of a timidity in him, a little bit of fear. Archie Goss, I knew your heart was in the right place. All right, guys, thank you so much for everything. We got the win. We will see you again on Thursday for the semifinal against Qatar. Let's go, USA. We did it. Berhalter got it right on the day. The boys gave everything. This team has a real grit to them, and I hope we can keep it going. Have a great night, Filippo. Oh, by the way, if you haven't already, guys, subscribe to Filippo's channel, Tactical Manager. another great channel, as most of you already know. Smash the like button before you leave if you hadn't. I'm going to break down this whole game tomorrow on Patreon. Have a great night, everyone, and we'll see you soon.